Emotional week for the family members of the Cradock Four, who were visibly distraught at every turn of this inquest. The court visited key sites including Matthew Goniwe's Cradock home, the memorial site and Olifantskop bus. The aim, to clarify the sequence of events, distribute witness statements and the feasibility of prior defences, an approach lawyers say is critical in reconstructing what happened.
It's very nostalgic, vulnerable, painful time, what I was feeling there. Just this thinking, this is where I lived. You know, I was born, lived with my mom and my father and my sister. We grew up at that home, and yet it was the same home where the planning of the killing was supposed to be there, but then they moved it somewhere else as it was more private. So it was an emotional time, discussing the whole thing, where the bugs happened, the phones being bugged, phones being tapped. We went through the house, and yeah, just to me it brings back just painful memories.
Some of the bodies of the Cradock Four were found together, while others were just a short distance away from each other, stabbed, shot, and even dismembered. However, discrepancies in the location of the bodies have still left family members confused.
I've always wanted to go to that site, but when we got close to the site, I got scared. I got scared in so much that I was like shaking, but I wanted to go there, and that's when I decided I must go to that captain, because he had the map, and he said this is exactly where we got your father's body.
For me, it was today's day was kind of confusing for me, because I was really hoping to get the proper site where my father was buried, was found, because now there is like two sites that are being pointed at, so it's not really giving me any closure in a sense, because I don't know which one is the exact spot. For me, it would have helped if I knew the exact spot, so I'd know this is the spot my father was at, and it would give me a sense of closure.
On day 4 of the inquest, Professor Derrick Swartz, a former anti-apartheid activist, testified in the High Court. He described how the Eastern Cape in the early 1980s was the epicenter of the regime resistance, and how South Africa has since been held hostage by a fragmented history with little hope of finding real closure.
But time heals all wounds, eh? But I can tell you, I've never forgiven the people for what they've done. It's just very difficult. There were other options available to take us out of the equation, and for me personally, I still feel pain to this very day. And none of us went through any counselling because of that horrendous period. I'm not talking about just that incident, but there were other comrades whose lives were lost as well.
His son, Lukhanyo, gave a background on the years leading up to the abduction and assassination. He also spoke passionately about how he feels the various democratic regimes have failed to bring the family justice.
And I feel that the authorities in this country, ma'am, I understand the apartheid government. They were never going to kill my father and his comrades and then prosecute themselves for doing that. What I don't understand, ma'am, are successive administrations of the African National Congress that have led this country from 1994. And why we've had to fight as hard as we have fought over the last couple of years, 30 years or so, just for us to get justice. It's a betrayal, ma'am, that cuts right to the bone.
Calata's son explained how only 7 of the 49 people suspected by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission are still alive today and are all elderly.
Basically, the whole system of apartheid had made us out as black people to be less than human beings. We were something that we were subhuman, basically. So for these 4 subhumans to dare to want to be seen as equals of whites in this country was almost like, how dare they believe that they were anything more than the subhumans that the apartheid government had kind of made us out to be. So I think there was a lot of anger.
Lukhanyo will be cross-examined tomorrow morning. His mother, Nomonde Calata, will follow suit as soon as he wraps up. Kim Daniels, SABC News, Gqeberha.